still, something that's been around for a while, but it seems like you guys are like making a serious go of things this time.
We're trying. We had a meeting. When did we have that meeting? I guess maybe like November-ish or something.
Okay.
We met up because we basically like took a year off where we didn't do anything for a lot of different reasons. Life was happening.
Sure.
It's hard doing underfunded art,
right?
Yeah. When everyone's poor,
right.
And we're just like slaving away at jobs that we hate, and you just come home and you don't want to do anything because you're just exhausted from hating yourself for 8 hours.
All sounds painfully familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's something everyone can relate to. So we had a meeting about like, well, what are we going to do? And one of the nice things that came out of that meeting was a sense of urgency. And like, if we're going to do this, like we need to actually sit down and take it seriously and fucking try. Cause we've been kind of half-assing it for a while,
Sure.
And some of that again is like, maybe like being a little too critical of ourselves or myself. Right. Cause again, there are very real constraints, but at the same time, it's like you were saying, if you want something bad enough, like you find a way to work around it.
Right. And
if we want to be a bigger part of this community, we got to find a way to work around it. We got to find a way to like muscle ourselves in, I mean, it was great doing shows at Chris's house, but at the same time, like, how many people can fit in Chris's house?
Right. Yeah.
Like, who are you reaching out to? How are you like, you want to be involved and help develop the community and build a dialogue, right? And contribute to the society in some sort of meaningful manner. Hopefully, maybe someone gets something out of something and changes their life, and then they change the world, and you can be like, oh, I did it. Except you'll never know.
Sure. Yeah.
So that happened. So we had that meeting, and it's like, all right, we need to take this seriously. So we've been working very hard on like, how do we get into like actual performance spaces? Like something where, house shows, the other thing, going back to that really quick, is like cool for other artists.
Right.
But that's what it becomes. It becomes art for artists.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, you're ostensibly trying to do art for everyone.
Right. The other way, it's like, you're great, I'm great, aren't we great? Yeah. Right.
Oh, what a cool concept.
Yeah.
Oh, that was neat. So, and it is what it is that, the general, viewpoint is like, it's not serious unless it's in an actual theater.
Right.
Like
but it's like artistic
space.
Masturbation then, right?
Yeah.
It ends up being this circle jerk of appreciation. So to where you end up missing what we were just talking about, which is getting that connection with somebody who may not have otherwise experienced this.
Yeah, complete strangers.
Yeah, in a public space.
And people who maybe don't like interface with art that often.
Right.
Who
are just like, maybe their friend dragged them along to it, or it's like, hey, let's check out this thing, right? Yeah.
And giving them something to like take home and spend time with.
Right.
So yeah, now we're making this big push. We'll see how it works out. I mean, we lucked out. It's really great that
that theater space is awesome.
Dude, I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
Especially like Jake and I spent a lot of time like redoing the electrics and everything for it, and cleaning that up, because it is like a really lovely space.
Yeah. Like
I really like warehouse spaces, kind of like that.
Generally, it's awesome. Yes.
Concrete floor, the wooden rafters.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
So we're very lucky they took us in residence, and then it's awesome that Space 55 took the show Beth Ann's going to be directing.
Nice.
So we have a somewhat more legitimized season, if you will.
Sure.
Because it's, in known performance spaces.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens from there. We're riding the ride.
Nice.
The goal is to eventually have our own space and be, like the Steppenwolf of the Southwest.
That would be great, right?
Yeah, that would be amazing. It'd be really nice to make a living doing art.
Fucking A, yeah.
Someday, right?
Yeah.
Should have listened to my professors.
There's no money in art, but there should be. You know, that's something I think that honestly, and if, you know, I've thought this for a long time, and I know that I'm not the only person that thinks that, but if Phoenix hopes to be like a major city, every major city has its art scene.
They have a thriving art scene.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you don't.
Yeah.
My, I can like really dig into this. They're like, that's the issue with Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
Is it has like no cultural identity
Yes.
whatsoever, and a lot of that has to do with a dearth of art.
Right. Well, there's
know?
a dearth of support for it too.
Oh, on top, like the funding
there's no
is
funding.
fucking horrible.
Yeah, it's insane.
You know, like I remember we were applying for this grant for Art Tank when that was still a thing before funding got cut even more. And it, you know, was like there was first place was like $10,000, and then it was like $8,000, $5,000, whatever. Which we were happy to take any money.
Sure.
But you know, we're in there and we're competing against, you know, fully well-funded, fully developed nonprofits like Child's Play and Phoenix Theater, who this is almost like fucking drops in the bucket for them, and it means everything to us. But that's how like shit the funding is they're like scrounging.
They still have to go for it.
They're looking for every scrap they can get.
Right.
So you don't even have a diversity of art. Like you can't even get like when I'm having like a built-in you know, like you're like it's the survivor mentality.
Yeah.
You know, when even like because you look at other cities and like the arts communities are supportive of each other on top of that.
Right. Yeah.
And when you're putting in a position of like, no, I need everything I can get because there's not enough, you know, the scarcity of resources,
right. Yeah.
You know, trying not to eat each other alive.
It's, you know, it's something.
It folds in on itself.
It does. I think, honestly, I think that this is probably the best it's been since I've been, you know, aware of it. But it's not good.
I'm leery because every time I feel like Phoenix starts taking steps in those directions, it all
something
fucking
just
falls apart.
Smacks it down. Yeah, it's,
like the funding goes away, or like, you know, what happened downtown. Like it started like Roosevelt Row started to become really cool,
and then
the next thing it's luxury fucking condos galore that no one can afford. No one can, like, some of them are giving away like rent free for 3 months because no one can live down there.
No, certainly none of the people that made that interesting, that brought anybody down
and
there.
You kick out what's interesting.
Right,
like, why? I don't want to live down there anymore. You removed all the cool shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I don't need another Even Stevens fucking sandwiches. Like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, well, and it just drives people further down, you know, and people start moving to Grand Avenue, and then, you know, and
that makes it even worse, right? Because like, I went to Art Detour like a year or two ago, right? And like the whole focus is like, oh, we're downtown, but in all actuality, like the whole itinerary was a ring around downtown,
sure,
and it was horribly inconvenient. Like, they present it as like a sort of art walk, but it's an art drive. Right. You know?
Yeah.
And no one wants to do that. Like, that.
Like all the galleries, all the space that would have been downtown are gone. And they've been bulldozed and made like high rises. Yeah. So yeah, it's insane.
And when you push things out, it makes it harder. It becomes inaccessible. Like I can go to one thing, end of story. Mm-hmm. Whereas before, like, I can engage. Like, I can go gallery to gallery and then go to this space, go to this restaurant. Yeah. Have a fantastic, you know, like, have a fantastic meal and go see a show. Yeah. And this all happened within the span of, like, half a mile. Mm. Right? Whereas now it's like, I got to drive here and I got to drive here and I got to drive here. Like, you can't make a day out of it. Right. You know, especially not if you're going to drink, not in this state.
Yeah. Right.
Which is actually like a big part of it. Like people like having a drink before seeing a show. Yeah. Or like going out and spending the day, you know, like, oh, we did all of this. Now let's go have a beer. Right. And sit down. And now it's like, oh, I can do this one thing. And that's that. I don't want a DUI. Yeah. And like Ubers add up. That gets expensive
they do.
after
It is
a while.
expensive. It's expensive as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I need to save that for when I'm planning on just getting wasted and doing nothing else.
Yeah.
Can't blow my wallet and
I don't know.
traipsing about town leisurely.
If any sort of decision maker is listening, that's I don't know. I've had these conversations a lot over the years. It's just Roosevelt is the perfect example, as you're saying. It's something where the people that made that interesting, that drew people down there, are gone. So now the people that were like, oh, we've got to capitalize on this, are facing all these empty places because you can't.
What's the point?
Yeah.
And it's insanely expensive, too.
Yeah.
Prohibitively.
Absolutely.
For no reason. It makes... every time I walk by or drive by, I just get angry.
It's angering. Yeah, absolutely.
And they're ugly, too. None of them look good.
And they're,
they're just eyesores on top of it.
Yeah.
That add insult to injury, just really rubbing salt in the wound.
Well, on that cheery note, I think... Honestly, I loved the show. I thought Lavender Was just great. I think people should go see it. This will go up in time for people to go see it for one more weekend, so I highly encourage it. I'm going to go see it again. I want my girlfriend to see it. So,
oh, that's really sweet of you.
It's
hopefully you guys don't break up afterwards. She doesn't leave too traumatized.
I'm not concerned. But
is this what it's going to be like with you?
Well, you know what? Maybe just a little bit.
Just slightly. I maybe won't cut my wrists.
Remember how I said I get in my head a lot? Yeah. But I don't know. It's, hey, if that's going to happen, it's going to happen. But, yeah, absolutely. It's a great date night show. Go take the
the whole family. Take the kids.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Just a really uplifting piece.
But honestly, I
feel good hit of the summer.
It is. It's a great show. I think it's.
Thank you.
I can't praise it enough. So absolutely, people should go see it. And thanks for talking to me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Cool. All right, that's it. That's the show. Thanks again to my guest Stephen Kass for sitting and chatting with me, and go see his play Lavender Was from Howl Theatre Project. It's the beginning of their new season. They have a lot of interesting shows coming up, and it's at Aside Theatre, like I mentioned, which is over on 7th Street in Osborn, in the same plaza as Urban Beans. And 16th, 17th, 18th, those are the last showings. You have time, get the tickets, howltheatreproject.com. And yeah, that'll do it. I have a few more interviews in the can, so there are some forthcoming shows. We'll see how long that goes this time. And thank you for listening. And thank you for continuing to support the show in whatever ways you do. It means a lot. See you on down the road. This has been a Hoot and Waddle production. If you enjoyed this podcast, why not check out one of our other fine podcasts available from hootandwaddle.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any number of podcast apps. If you'd like to support Hoot and Waddle and get access to an exclusive member-only podcast, receive discounts on merch, and more, go to patreon.com/Hoot and Waddle.